Anyway, welcome back to Build Showcase. We are now living in a post on the horizon broadcast world. We now know almost everything that's going to be in Season 5. Actually, by the time this comes out, we may know everything. This is actually being recorded, I think, more than 3 weeks before it will come out. So, hello Scoot, I hope you're watching this as a member. It can be out very early for you. But, it's also recorded before even the previous one is coming out, which is the Gunner... What was it? It was Plasma Bursters. Plasma Bursters. On Gunner, on the Hurricane. Which was awesome. But isn't actually out yet as of recording. But that stream did happen, so now we know basically everything's in Season 5. And of course, but this being recorded so early, we might know even more by the time this comes out. So please tell me, what do we know? I would love to know if there is in fact new secondary objectives in Season 5. We don't really know, but my god, what we know is awesome. Anyway, so this is a build showcase, not a news video. Look at this guy. This is Driller, and he's using, first of all, an amazing look. I mean, come on. I really don't like Lifford Trophy Hunter, but there's something going on here. And I really like it. Anyway, so this is Ice Spear, basically. Say hello to Ice Spear. Ice Spear is one of the... It's kind of up there in terms of driller overclocks, I would say. Certainly Cryo Cannon. The Cryo Cannon's a weird weapon. It has some quirks that we kind of disapprove of, but really, when we're being really honest, general freezing builds are great. Ice Storm is actually pretty good as well. Even Snowball has some uses, but Ice Spear is a really good part of the Cryo Cannon. I think even Tyler does agree with that. Ice Spear is a very respectable component of the Cryo Cannon's pantheon of builds, of which there aren't that many. But it is a very respectable option. It's a very powerful single target overclock. But the thing is, it is weird in the sense that to really achieve a level of single target damage that is really worth the hassle, worth the downsides, worth the amount of ammo that Ice Spear takes up more so. That's the real downside, not the extended repressure delay. You do have to freeze the enemies first, which is kind of unfortunate. Even the Oppressor, and it is possible to do that. I'm not very good at timing it, but you do have to. You have to freeze them to do it, really. Otherwise, the damage isn't going to be worth it. You can't just shoot Praetorian just in the face or accidentally hit the armor. It's such a waste of ammo. You really have to freeze them first, which explains a lot of what goes into this build, which is freezing power as much as we can get without sacrificing too much ammo. Freezing power in tier 1 is an easy pick. Cold Radiance is an even easier pick. This is a single target Cryo Cannon. We want to freeze big targets and then Ice Spear them. We don't need Fragile. We're not interested in taking out sort of groups of smaller enemies at all. Tier 2, range. Interesting one. You can take ammo if you want. I would not recommend repressurization delay, even though it does negate the penalties of Ice Spear. It's just not worth it compared to the other two. Range, I personally prefer because it allows me to freeze certain enemies, specifically stationary enemies, without having to get too close, which is obviously going to get even more valuable in Season 5. But especially things like Spitballers, being able to freeze them from a further range is actually really nice. This applies to a lot of things, actually, like a Warden, for example, which is often buried in a horde of enemies. It allows you to freeze it from further away. And the freezing is so important, right? Because Ice Spear can be very powerful if you were to hit an enemy weak point, right? And it would be. But it also could be a lot better. And certain enemies, especially like Wardens, their weak points are kind of hard to hit, especially when they're moving. And freezing them obviously stops them from moving. Tier 3, I don't really care too much, except for the fact that I feel like fire rate kind of just expends more ammo without really helping us. It could just end up wasting ammo. Tier 4 is ammo easily. Freezing power would be tempting if we somehow had more ammo aside from it. Even this is only 75, so I can't really say that's worth it. We kind of just need the ammo. Ammo is freezing power as well, in a sense. But yeah, Ice Spear. It's very easy. In my opinion, it's fairly easy to build for. The only real option here is you could take ammo or range in tier 2. And I feel like, just based on my explanation, you probably understand how to use Ice Spear now, but I feel like I still need to show it in practice, especially because I have a an elimination lined up, and it's been a long time since I've really used it against Dreadnoughts. And I don't know how good it's going to be, to be honest. So there is going to be a bit of practice in this video for me, personally, with Ice Spear. I have been using it for a while. I have wanted to make a build showcase with it for a while, but I don't play the game so much that I'm constantly refreshing my proclivity for every given build. So we'll see how that goes. Your secondary is important because this is a cryo cannon that is built for single target, more specifically, big, high HP single targets. Wardens and up. Wardens, Praetorians, Oppressors, Menaces too. Actually, Goo Bombers are interesting because Goo Bombers, you can one-shot with the Ice Spear quite easily without freezing them, because if you froze them, they die anyway. Certain things like that. So our secondary needs to be a crowd clearer / small HP HVT clearer. It should be able to kill things like web spitters and acid spitters, and even certain Macteras fairly easily. And that is why, unfortunately, we have to take Boiler Ray. I really wish, not Boiler Ray, obviously we are using Boiler Ray, but it's why we have to take Mega Power Supply. I really wish I could justify using something like Blistering Necrosis, but you kind of just can't. And Super Focus Lens could be good, but unfortunately, that ammo is not worth not having, and we need it to be long range anyway, so Mega Power Supply is. There are some things about this that are a little bit untested. I've mainly been using it with full ammo and with Temperature Amplifier, but frankly, we're not in the business of actually comboing them in that sense. As you can see, we're using Boiler Rate and not Exothermic Reactor, which I will try my best to explain, but it is kind of a preference thing, to be honest. Tier 1, like I said, I have most often been taking this with ammo, not damage, but I've noticed that I actually tend to run out of ammo on the Cryo Cannon before the Wave Cooker, and frankly, I've also noticed that I wish the Wave Cooker could be a little bit more effective against certain enemies, especially Macteras, actually. So I've decided to go in for damage. Tier 2, fire rate is also a little bit untested. I personally recommend Heat Generation, because that's the thing that's going to let you fire for longer. But I am also very interested in bursts of damage. This is something that could change. Both of these tiers could actually change after the first mission. I just want to note that I'm normally using this setup. I decided to change these very sort of on a whim before I started recording. I just feel like it might be better, which obviously doesn't sound great given that I'm supposed to be offering a proven and tested build. But in most ways I am. Tier 3 is also something that I recently changed, and here's why. Temperature Amplifier is not helping us in this instance. It might be. If I notice the difference, I will definitely swap it back. But Densification Ray is extremely useful, especially against those HVTs. An Acid Splitter we can kill fairly effectively, and same for the Macteras, but they do move a fair amount. You can potentially freeze them, especially an Acid Splitter is very easy to freeze. The Densification Ray is just going to help keep those enemies under control while trying to hit them. Tier 4, Wide Lens add-on, because it just makes a bit more sense in this case. You know, Power Supply Overdrive does increase rate of fire, but it also narrows the AoE. We do want a fairly wide lens if we can achieve it, because this is supposed to be a crowd clearing wave cooker. But it is still used in tandem with the Cryo Cannon quite directly. We will absolutely be using the Cryo Cannon to freeze some parts of a wave of grunts that we can then use Boiler Ray. Boiler Ray works just as well as Exothermic Reactor, the Cryo Cannon, because the Wave Cooker does deal triple damage to frozen enemies, which I wouldn't expect personally, given that it doesn't deal any direct kinetic damage. Every example of weapons dealing triple damage to frozen enemies is because they use direct kinetic damage. The only exceptions are the Wave Cooker in general, and also the Burning Nightmare projectile on the EPC. Burning Nightmare normally, well, the charge shot does normally deal direct damage, as you can see down here. Charge damage 135. That is direct kinetic damage and will do triple damage to frozen enemies, I think. But Burning Nightmare actually removes that direct damage, but it does add a triple damage multiplier anyway to make up for it. But the Wave Cooker has it built in, even though it's not dealing direct or kinetic damage at all, which is awesome, and means that we can very quickly kill weaker enemies like grunts, which means we can very easily trigger boiler ray explosions, which makes it turns the Wave Cooker into a really valid crowd shredder, and hopefully we'll see that in action, especially with having taken the extra damage. The rest of the build isn't too important. We are quite good at single target damage, so you could potentially swap out the axes, but the axes are extremely versatile. They let us take out what the axes do is let us take out certain high priority targets with very little effort. This is especially relevant for mech terrors, where sometimes the wave clicker doesn't quite cut it, so I would much rather use an impact axe. It can also be used to save an ice spear, you know, especially against something like a Praetorian or a Warden. We can very easily instead just use an impact axe and then very quickly finish it off with either our drills or the wave cooker, and then all of a sudden we become very efficient, much more efficient than normal. Drills, standard setup. I do think this is the best setup. Please copy it. It's patented by me. Satchel charge. Once again, I think this is the best setup, but it's up to you. Satchel charge is not particularly relevant for the build. Perks, my standard perk setup, of course. Vampire on Driller, no doubt. Resupply is just fun and nice. Sweet Tooth. For some reason, I just tend to run Sweet Tooth on Driller. I really don't know why. It's like this weird thing where I pretty much always run Fawns on Engineer and Scout, but that slot is kind of taken up by Sweet Tooth on Driller, and then Veteran Depositor on Gunner for some reason. I don't really know. Everything else is up to you. The build really lies in the Cryo Cannon and the Wave Cooker being built this particular way. And I would say Impact Axes are probably the best bet for a grenade, which isn't surprising. The Impact Axes are kind of ridiculous. Anyway, it's time to begin. So I've chosen Elimination with Parasites, which was a good find because it's a decent warning that's going to make use of what our Wave Cooker is good at. But also we do have Dreadnoughts, right, which should, if I am as good as I think I am, be a really good proving ground for Ice Spear. Let's hope I'm right. Anyway, as usual, I will more often than not be cutting between combat scenarios. And in fact, I will try and keep it down. I won't show you every combat scenario. But let's take a moment at the start of the mission, get our bearings. See, here's a Goo Bomber, which is a perfect creature. I want Bosco to actually not touch it because I want to try and get this right. So if we hit a weak point, it will instantly die. Don't even have to freeze it, which is amazing. Okay. Nice, golden loot bug. Also, the Wave Cooker is probably the best weapon for taking out Gunk Seeds. It's just got a high ammo, instant hit scan, not projectile, just hit scan damage. Okay, so we've got a breeder down there. I think I'm just going to have Bosco take out the breeder. We could easily take it out if I got up close and used Cold Radiance to kill it, but I am not interested in using my Cryo Cannon ammo for that. Also, Nader-Site shockers are one of the things that a boiler array Wave Cooker is best at. In fact, there is nothing better at killing those enemies, I think, tiny enemies in general, than a boiler array Wave Cooker. It's kind of absurd. I really hope I get to show that off. I don't think I have done before. Let's look at this little grunt. So this is the kind of thing that we just want to use Wave Cooker itself on, not without any freezing. If we were looking at a more dense group of grunts, say, I don't know, half a dozen and up, we will most likely freeze most of them first, and then really tear them apart with the Wave Cooker. How's Bosco doing? Can't really tell. Might want to be careful of that. So, a Stingtail, as we just saw, is an interesting one where Ice Spear would be super overkill against it. If you were to freeze the Stingtail first, Ice Spear would be, like I said, extremely overkill, but because of how armored the Stingtail is, it's really hard to hit it in a way that's going to do any effective damage if you didn't freeze it. So we just got to freeze it and impact axe it, freeze it or power attack it, freeze it or just Wave Cooker and drill it, you know? It's a fairly simple calculus. The way I see Ice Spear is that it really is actually quite unintrusive, but you can just use it from time to time to take out those really big HP targets instantly. You can actually use it for the most part like a normal Cryo Cannon. Like when you build it in a standard way with just like a little bit of extra freezing power and Cold Radiance in tier 5, the Cryo Cannon is just such a force of nature inherently that you don't really need an overclock like tuned cooler or the clean one. You will take Ice Spear and get away with it for the most part. Okay, I'm going to freeze these guys just to show you the power. Okay, didn't really freeze them much. Okay, that's fine. Wasn't a dense enough group really. Anyway, I think we've gotten to the point where I'm going to start cutting between certain encounters. Hopefully, right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to turn down... So, yeah, I'm going to turn down the character volume and mission control volume to about that. Both of them. Wow, that's perfect. Alright, see you soon. Alright, looks like we've got a fairly sizable group of enemies here. Right, Bosco, you're out. Cryo cannon is in. Right, Praetorian, Ice Spear time. Finally. Perfect. Easy. Easy! Okay, so, Wave Cooker, ammo. Might switch back to having more ammo. I'm not 100% sure yet. Some of the ammo was, of course, used on the breeder, which I didn't need to leave alive for as long as I did. Although, is there another one? There must be another one, right? You can't have laid that many eggs. Whatever. So yeah, I am kind of thinking about that, but so far, Cryo cannons worked especially well. So, I suppose the thing that maybe comes off a bit weird is taking the range over more ammo on the Cryo cannon, and to be honest, I'm not 100% convinced by it. And that's because in some situations it's useless, right? Not every enemy is long enough, like far enough away for that to make sense. Especially because more often than not, we want to be close up to, you know, enable our freezing, because most of our freezing power comes from cold radiance. Which is why, as much as I do like the versatility, and in fact this is actually a good example, is a Spitballer, as much as I do like the versatility of the increased range, it's probable that I'm going to change back to ammo. Also, is this a Dreadnought route? Because if it is, I think we can start straight away without having to cut at all. And I think that's important. Okay, so a spreader, I think, given the health it's at, I'm just going to axe it. What, did you see that? The parasites were pushing the axe. What the fuck? I didn't know Deep Rock's physics were that robust. Well, actually, Deep Rock's physics are actually pretty good, like realistically speaking. Most games don't allow... I mean, it has to have good physics with the way everything sort of works in terms of destructible terrain and whatnot. But most games don't really allow for the kind of things that happen in Deep Rock, like this axe. The way it will fall... Okay. It would fall if it had hit an enemy before. But, you know, certain things sort of work in that way. As in, Satchel will not fall. Wait a minute. Oh. Oh. I always forget that that does that. That's brilliant. Okay, what I was trying to do was point out the fact that satchels don't fall, but they could if they wanted to. Objects can fall and like tumble in ways that are realistic in Deep Rock, which I think is actually a really underrated facet of the game's physics engine. It is better than most people think. Even the movement is better than most people realize, you know. It's so much better than like COD movement or you know, lowbrow shooter like that, lowbrow AAA shooter. Okay, standard Dreadnought is actually good. This is probably the most raw test for just trying to freeze it and then Ice Spear it. Bosco, fuck right off. Damn it! So, we did not manage to... What's happening? What is happening? Because my satchel charge is not reverting. Okay, back. That was really weird. Didn't like that at all. So far, this could be going better. So I think what I'm going to have to do is possibly save the ice spears for the weak point. I think that makes the most sense. Because if we're not going to be able to freeze it in time, or we're not going to be able to ice spear it in time while it's frozen, the best thing we can do is just aim for the weak point. So, if you don't mind, not bad, it's not bad. I think that's good damage. It still works. You can use ice. This is Dreadnoughts are the kind of context when you can use ice spear properly. You know, just not without having to freeze the enemy first. Okay. I would say this is going well, but we've used a lot of ammo. So much so, I think I'm going to need to resupply before I move on. Just soaking up the wave we're doing, like crazy. Alright, I'm gonna drill it from now on. I don't like how much ammo I've used. I think we can all be pretty upfront about the fact that the drills are the best traversal tool. And yes, it is because they are a weapon as well. Okay, so what was displayed there was a utter lack of competence. I think I was thrown off by killing myself with the satchel. But also, you know, a pressure wave spawned just before I awoken the Dreadnought. Before I woke the Dreadnought, and that was a problem. In terms of actually dealing with it, you're being assailed by other enemies, which I didn't quite deal with in the right way either. Part of me does want to like have another go, in the sense that I think I'm gonna have to try and freeze the next one. Obviously, it's not going to be a normal Dreadnought. And I think the twins would be the best, potentially. Don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure. I feel like that might be the case. I kind of want the twins. Not just because I prefer the twins to the Hive Guard anyway, but I think they're going to be the better test. Although I hope the other examples just of combat that we've been through have shown how the build sort of works. In that you don't use Ice Spear most of the time. You just don't need to. But it's there if you need it. You know, every Praetorian, Oppressor, and Warden, possibly even Menaces, that's what it's for. And not really anything else, and that's fine. Which is kind of why I think I am pretty confident in switching to more ammo instead of range on Cryo Cannon. Because I think we need it to be a bit more versatile in terms of setting enemies up to be killed by other means, and that also includes the Ice Spear. We're using our cryo ammo more than I kind of anticipated we would, so I think we just need more of it than we need that range personally. No, I used the Spitballer as an example as why you would want range, but frankly, if you're smart, you're basically invulnerable to Spitballers as a driller. So, you can sort of just learn to get around that. Skill. Watch. Doesn't mean a thing. Don't mean a thing about Anyway, we're already in the second Dreadnought room, but I am going to go back and take a resupply. And I'll get back to you once I've done that. That was a lie, we're not in the second Dreadnought room, it's all the way over there. I will still get back to you. Unless there's a big horde of NATO-site shotguns for me to kill. Which there is. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Perfect. Okay, just some more enemies to kill. I don't think it's just shockers. No, it's definitely not. Good. I want one. I want grunts as well. That's pretty good. Okay, so there is a brute nexus somewhere, but the Dreadnought is actually right here. It's down this diagonal opening from the start. But I don't think this is the kind of environment I want to use. So I think we're actually going to use the spawn room to fight this one. But I do want to find where that brood nexus is, because brood nexuses are a good target for Ice Spear as well. Oh, there it is. Well, could leave it alone. Don't you wasting ammo. Perfect. Perfect. Insta kill. What you want to see. Alright, let's check this tunnel down here, but I think next time I see you, I'll be back at the spawn room. Awakening the next Dreadnought. Found something. By which I mean enemies to kill. Okay, this bunch deserves a sackful, I think. And a non-cryo boiler ray enhancer. Let this wake do its thing. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab that resupply, one more resupply from that one, and then we're gonna spawn that Dreadnought. In fact, you are gonna have to watch me do this. I mean, look, it's right there. But yeah, so what do we all think of Season 5? I mean, we would have done, let me think. So, podcast's already done. Season 5 breakdown video next week. Yeah, so this is actually... Oh no, hold on. Yeah, so this is actually coming out on the 15th of May. We might know quite a lot more about Season 5 at that point. Almost definitely, in fact. I wonder what that is, but what do we all think, you know? It looks absolutely amazing, as we have really, you know, hammered into ourselves. It is just awesome. It's a fantastic update. It's got potential to be the best ever. It's just so focused on taking advantage of the game being feature complete and just adding and expanding upon every area of it in the best way possible. Not literally every area, but enough in enough substantial ways to be a fantastic offering of content. Seriously. Anyway, got the twins, which is good. That's what I wanted. I think, for the sake of easiness, I am going to try and target the lacerator to try and get in a frozen ice spear. Stop! Oh, fuck! That was really bad. I lost the freeze. Oh my god, are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? That couldn't have gone worse. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. I have no reason to be playing bad. I'm actually in the mood to play Deep Rock as well. I don't know how to explain that. I have no excuse. I'm just going to dump some ammo into the Arbalest. Try and keep things as equal as possible. And now, it's time to give this another go. Okay! Okay, we did it. That's good, that's good. I think I'm just going to dump axes into the Arbalest for a bit. I want to use... let's be honest, I'm probably not going to be able to do that to the Arbalest. I really want the Arbalest to be brought down a peg. I think I did a bit too much right there. So if I can get a nice spear and Desolator now, it would be worth it, I think. Damn it! I'm just bad, aren't I? I actually am just bad at this. Well, this is what I meant. I wanted to practice, kind of, really. This is almost not worth it because it has enough health where I can just axe it to death. For the most part. At least we did one. We got one frozen ice spear on a Dreadnought. Or one ice spear on a frozen Dreadnought. So I'd say it's a mission success. That's not. I could do nothing but apologise, really. I don't know. I've got no reason to be playing poorly at all. Anyway, I still think we saw the strengths and weaknesses. The strengths lie in being able to one-shot certain enemies. The weaknesses lie in Ice Spear is overkill for a lot of certain enemies, and it's also very hard to use against certain enemies, like Dreadnoughts. Which is why we do need to counterbalance the weaknesses with more ammo, I think. Especially because I'm actually quite comfortable with the Wave Cooker ammo. But if I could freeze things more often, then the Wave Cooker would become even more efficient. So I think we need to take that Cryo Cannon ammo. I'm sort of fooling myself into thinking that the range is worthwhile investment. Also, that was a perfect little run clear right there. That's good. I guess the question is what kind of mission we want to do next. I would say not a boss type mission. I wouldn't mind a salvage drop, actually. Wouldn't be too bad. Possibly. All of this has got me thinking, though, about what I feel like, you know, the Cryo Cannon overclock should be. As far as we know, there is a high chance it might be a sticky ice-focused one. I kind of don't want that. I think I want it to... I really want it to do Tyler's idea, which is where the actual mist of the Cryo Cannon spray becomes a permanent... Well, not permanent cloud, but becomes a cloud that lingers and freezes enemies, which is kind of like sticky ice, but you can lay it anywhere, including in the air. Or actually only in the air. I think that'd be awesome. You know what else is awesome? The fact that I am genuinely... encouraged to play simply by the fact that I know now that all my XP is going to count towards a higher number for the promotion tracker. Anyway, so I said escort duty. Let's see. Not escort duty. Salvage op. Oh. Ooh. You know what? Because I'm a bitch, I'm actually going to do this. But I'm going to show very little of it. Anyway, we need to change to ammo on this. I think that's the only change we're going to make. I could change this from... No, hold on, this is the same amount of damage, right? Yeah, I don't think I want the Dead Man switch. Or the unstable thing. Let's do that. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to show most of this. I want a decent, difficult, hazardous mission. So, we'll keep the start of this in. I don't know why my fingers are bleeding. Seriously, my hands are just so dry for no reason. I think it's because I actually washed them too much. Isn't that weird? Come on, it's supposed to be quick. Actually, could this potentially be the final mission? I don't know. I don't know. If we get like some pretty significant bonus event in it, I think it could be. Unless that happens to be Harold.
Search for a blue shimmering light. Get it done, team.
Okay. Okay. Not a particularly distressing start. All right. Let's see if there's anything. And well, you'll see me if there is anything of note in this mission. Do just have a decent horde of grunts though, which I would like to eviscerate. Easy. Epic style. Ah, Materas. Now this is good actually. We haven't actually fought Materas yet. So the wave cricket is supposed to be for the... Okay, I got a lot of help from the minehead turrets, but that was really nice. I think the extra damage on the wave cooker was actually a very good decision. Right, if there is going to be any bonus event in this, it's probably going to be up here. So let's take a look. Together. Oh! Hi. Alright, let's get on with it. I will, of course, show you if there is anything else. It could be in like an offshoot room. Potentially. Hello, friends. Whoa! But until such a time, I'm going to have to cut. Goodbye. Alright, we've got the first swarm. I definitely want to do this on camera. Proper swarm. First swarm of the video. Yeah, I think that's a pretty respectable kill rate for those things. Terrors. Killing speed. Maybe they should actually put turrets on the drill elevator. It is a very minehead adjacent, piece of hardware, from what we can tell. It's more adjacent to the minehead than to Doretta, certainly. Okay, an oppressor. Now this is important because oppressors are like Dreadnoughts, very difficult to achieve the frozen ice spear against them. But I'm going to try my best. Did it. And when you do it, see, if you can learn that skill reliably, it's worth it because it's so much more efficient than any other way of killing an oppressor in the game, but pretty much. Pretty wild, actually. Alright, well, that's a good swarm. I might show you some other swarms, but for the most part, I think this mission's a wash, or a wrap, for the video. I'll get back to you towards the end, I think. Alright, swarm number 2 is here. I'm going to fight it while looking for other possible points of interest. Oh, an immediate oppressor. I actually thought I fucked that up. So it's actually a little bit more generous than I thought, but it does. Now, this is important when it comes to oppressors especially, and Dreadnoughts if you are going to try and do that. It's the fact that they unfreeze very quickly, but the ice path is a lingering effect and will continue to apply freeze to enemies. It doesn't actually completely counteract the warming of oppressors or Dreadnoughts, but it will stop them from warming too quickly, which is why you need to at least partially shoot down into the enemy so that there's an ice path beneath them. Oh my god, an omen. Okay, I think this actually might have to do it then. Mission. It's looking to be very inclusive. Means I do need to be quick to make sure I don't fight the omen too late into the mission and risk getting overwhelmed. So I'm going to set it up now, immediately go grab a resupply and then come back. I think is the way to do this. It would have been nice if I actually had a resupply because otherwise this is going to be basically impossible without something to stand on. I'm gonna give it a go whether it kills me or not. Okay. Drone replicator. Not good. Actually, I think I'm gonna have to try and get a resupply. But here.
Ride for me, please.
I just don't see it being possible otherwise. Yeah, but this mission's got a good mix of enemies and it's got an omen, so I don't really see myself needing to go further. Okay, it's a good amount of money for there. I think there was some nitra down here. Very exciting, isn't it? Nitra hunting. Count. Ah, there we go. Okay, we're good. We're safe. I might actually have to wait. Given the time though, I might have to wait until the next swarm to be able to do the omen. Which is not great. Otherwise, we will probably get interrupted. And I don't know how I feel about that still, about the way that point extractions are, in the sense that you can get interrupted, swarms don't stop, and obviously the unit pressure waves get more frequent as well. And swarms, you know, like I said, swarms don't get interrupted, or they will interrupt events that you're doing. I like it. Point extraction occupies a really weird space in the game of essentially being this like brutal speedrun adjacent mission type, where, you know, the layouts are pretty defined. That's not even going to change for Season 5 with the new cave shapes. You know, whatever the point extraction ones are will be very recognizable. That's just how point extraction is constructed. So it's almost like you know the layout already, just based on what you can see. You know, there's more than one layout, but you can sort of learn them, in a sense. Anyway, we need to set up that omen, I think. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to take out the bottom first. There's no real option. I hate that because the drones are so awful, but I can't see myself doing this any other way. I do want to take this as an opportunity, though, to test something, which is whether or not the omen, how much so you can freeze it, you know. Hello, Joseph. I couldn't have said his name, I was meant to pause. So Betsy you can freeze. As in, if you apply fire or ice, you can temp shock it. And not just with the wave cooker either. Obviously, it doesn't appear to be frozen or on fire, but you can still do that thing. The omen I'm not 100% sure about. I think I have temp shocked an omen before, but I can't say that for sure. Unfortunate. Okay, I think I'm going to have to fight this swarm near the omen. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ice spear that. Yeah. So that, I don't think that's justified. You can freeze a septic spreader so easily. Using 50 cryo cannon ammo on one is not a good use of your ammo. Right, I think we're just going to ride this mission till the end from this point for the video, and that should be it. Unless something really tickles my fancy. Yes.
I'm taking some of the ammo. Yes. Explosives, guys.
The bottom tier I'm not concerned about though. The bottom tier of the Omen I just want to obliterate with satchels. I really don't care. And that they are part of our build, you know. Don't diss the satchel. Right, let's get it started.
Be ready for anything.
I'm going to need to use a combination of the wave cooker and... Well, actually, I think I can just freeze the drones. Not actually freeze them, but... You know, they do it... Yeah, they actually just a good amount of damage, actually. Okay, that's a good amount of damage. Perfect. I didn't know it could be that good. Anyway, now I need to be careful. I think I want to take out the drones first. Almost definitely. Okay, that's the twin slicer, which is good. It's a very easy test. Although I don't think it is because, yeah, so I think that twin slicer is so weak that I'm pretty sure Ice Spears do it anyway. Okay, see what that was? That was actually an example of the Ice Spear's AoE component. Because the Ice Spear does have a tiny area of effect component to it. It does a very small amount of damage. It's like 100 damage or something, which is not actually that small, but it's negligible in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, the thing is, I'm pretty sure because of how shitty twin slicers are, that a single Ice Spear destroys those parts anyway. But at the same time, if I'm not mistaken, again, I think we did have the same effect against... Yeah, we do have the same effect against these ones as well. We don't even need to freeze. We can just Ice Spear the day away. Oh, now that's taking the piss. Alright. And that's me being stupid. But we're basically done. Can you imagine when we get season 5 and this machine event, when I put my thing in the thing, which sounds a bit weird. Hold on. Let's actually finish it. Let's actually finish it. I'm getting worried now. Okay. God.
Well done. Core infuser is active.
Anyway, so when I put this in, Season 5, I put this in, I see cosmetic and weapon overclocks there, instead of mineral canisters. Oh my god, that feeling is going to be insane. I don't think I'm going to... I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Really sounds pretty abstract, but it's been so long since me or Tyler have had that feeling, you know? Where finding, you know, cargo crates, finding machine events, finding lost packs has any value to us. And it's going to be drastically changed soon. Obviously, machine events did have some value when we got the new weapons, because they brought a lot of overclocks with them. But it's the first time we're going to get overclocks for the Gen 1 or 2 weapons. And also first time that I'm going to get cosmetic overclocks in like 3 years. It's going to be wild. Anyway, so I think this is going to be it. In fact, I am going to do an outro. So yeah, I think we really saw all the strengths and weaknesses. But I think even the weaknesses represent a skill that can actually be learned. Especially in the context of the twins, where I was able to actually freeze and then hit the lacerator with an ice spear. And of course, oppressors too. Flying enemies are a little bit finicky, but the wave cooker does a decent job against them. Crowds are no problem at all. We can easily freeze them and destroy them. Or the wave cooker almost does good enough on its own. But even though it was difficult to freeze the Dreadnoughts, boss enemies aren't too much of a problem either, especially something like the Omen or Betsy. I think you would have a similar experience with. The Ice Spears would do a lot of damage to Betsy's weak points, which are the only way you can damage it anyway. Yeah, I think, you know, it doesn't excel at everything, but it covers enough ground and does excel in enough areas to be a really satisfying build to use. And I'm just really happy that Ice Spear is a really viable overclock, because the Cryo Cannon has felt, for me, very static for a long time. I think Tyler still can't really break the habit of the Cryo Cannon. It's just, you just freeze, and that's all it does. I think there's more to it than that. I think Ice Spear and Ice Storm are both valid overclocks in their own ways. Ice Storm is a really interesting hybrid of single target and crown clearing, and I really like it, to be honest. Oh, now that was interesting. I think, I didn't know this, and I can check pretty easily, but it looks like the Ice Spear AoE does actually deal cold damage. It does actually apply freeze, which I didn't know. That might not be true. That might just be a weird sort of thing, but it wouldn't be the Cryo Cannon, because my Cryo Cannon isn't spreading temperature. So it could have been Ice Path, potentially. But yeah, it looked like the Ice Spear itself froze the grunts. And they already had a little bit of freezing done to them. But as far as I know, frozen enemies don't radiate their temperature in the way that on fire enemies do. So that's a bit weird. Alright, let's get out of here.
Spewing disgusting mush all over the place.
Okay. So, if you enjoyed this episode of Build Showcase, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to see more videos like this, and you want to stay on top of everything to do with Deep Rock Galactic and Road Core, then please click the bell as well. As always, if you found the build interesting and ended up using it yourself, please leave some feedback if you are willing to, and please leave suggestions for other builds that you might want me to see me do. I do want to reiterate that this is going to be the last set of build showcases before Season 5. The cycle is Engineer, Gunner, Driller, and Scout. The next Scout one will be the last build showcase I do before Season 5. And after Season 5, these videos will be replaced temporarily with me doing individual gameplay videos of all the new overclocks. So you can look forward to that, but also to know that normal build showcases like this will not be a thing until at least a few months after Season 5. It's going to take some time. And now I'm going to quickly check if any mission captures me. That does, but I won't do it on... Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Now this is a pickle. Now, I've done these very quickly before. I'm going to do this ultra quick. I don't know what the best build is for this. Is there anyone I can get like really close? You can do it. 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 Anyway, so as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time on Build Showcase.